YouTube has videos on just about any topic that you can think of, and one genre that's been growing lately is outdoor exploration and survival. Whether they're working with animals, exploring, or building a shelter in the woods, this content gives you the feeling of touching grass without you actually having to touch any. Which you should all be doing, by the way. Now, as interesting as this video subgenre is, it's important to remember that nature is unforgiving to the unprepared and brazen, and sometimes you just get unlucky out there. Many YouTube creators have gone missing or even lost their lives making this style of content, and today we'll be exploring some of the most tragic cases of nature getting the best of internet outdoorsmen. Finn Creaney. This story features an adventurous young man with a passion for wildlife exploration. He had hopes of teaching the public about survival skills while making a little bit of money on the side. Unfortunately, his love for exploration led to an unsolved mystery and the tragic end of his online career. Back in January of 2021, the YouTube channel Wildcat Bushcraft was created by a man named Finn Creaney. Soon after launching the channel, Finn would begin posting content of himself exploring the Scottish Highlands. Some of this exploration is featured in his YouTube channel trailer, which excellently showcases what the guy was all about.
Hi, I'm Finn Creaney, survivalist and bushcraft instructor from the Highlands of Scotland, and welcome to the Wildcat Way. Is the elements of survival. So you need shelter, heat, you need good water, purifying it, absolute essential, and then food.
It's clear from the beginning that Finn wanted to make a career out of this bushcraft camping venture, promising his viewers to post content on survival techniques, outdoor cooking methods, and gear. He certainly hoped to make money from his videos, but seemed to be genuinely enthusiastic about teaching people wilderness survival skills. It wasn't all about the money for this guy.
Here's the glory though. What a difference it's made to the front. And inside, there's no issue with the snowfall or hopefully rainfall coming through the top. Doing the bedding and doing all the woodwork, sawing that up took the longest amount of time. But the thatching was really quick.
Finn's content is fairly standard for a bushcraft channel, with videos of him hiking around the moors of Scotland, fishing in the lochs, building shelters, and cooking over fires. There's a touch of humility in the way that he presents himself, as he doesn't shy away from exposing his own lack of skill in some areas.
Charcloth is the winner. Now, there's other great things like Amadou, which I do have here. I'm not going to embarrass myself. Just now, I think I'm pushing the luck a little bit already. Despite
Finn's ambitious plans, his channel never really hit YouTube's algorithm, with most of his views and comments coming from friends and family. Despite low viewership though, he continued camping, surviving, and uploading, releasing new videos until the 6th installment of his Wildcat Way series, which was released on December 12th of 2021. The video itself was nothing unusual, but it would be the last time he was seen on YouTube. On March 25th of 2022, Finn Creaney was reported missing. He was last seen 2:15 p.m. of that day, after being dropped off by car at Loch Naver, which is where he planned to go on another hiking trip. Loch Naver is located in a relatively isolated region of the Scottish Highland. It's popular with fishermen, and hikers are known to trek the hills surrounding the loch. Though in March, it was still cold out and tourists in the area were few and far between. Nobody had reported seeing Finn at the loch around this time. Within a few days, news of his disappearance started spreading as Finn's wife appealed to the public for help in looking for him. Quote, "It's a really worrying time for me and our 4-year-old daughter, Luna. Scottish police searched the area around the loch for weeks but turned up no signs of Finn. The situation turned desperate as other small influencers on the internet joined in to help and find Finn. What followed was an 18-month-long search where nobody found a single trace of Finn. It was as if the earth had swallowed him whole. He disappeared." Finn was last seen wearing a black t-shirt, a long brown leather jacket, dark-colored trousers, and brown waterproof boots. The man was carrying a green rucksack, but none of these belongings or clothing items were found at the loch, at least not yet. It just didn't make much sense. Surely if he had an accident or had fallen and injured himself, then succumbing to the elements, there would be some kind of trace of his belongings being left behind. Finally, after 18 months of fruitless searching, a clue was found. Some of Finn Creeney's belongings were discovered by a group of hunters. Specifically, his rucksack was found washed up on the bank of Loch Naver. After this discovery, authorities began to think the loch itself was responsible for Finn's disappearance. The working theory was that Finn, for whatever reason, be it to showcase a survival tactic or to challenge himself, attempted to swim across the loch and didn't make it, and he drowned. With this theory in mind, divers were deployed to search the bottom of the loch near the rucksack discovery, but they turned up nothing, and hope was lost again. The devastating news relayed by the divers was shared by Finn's father on Facebook and TikTok 2 weeks after the discovery.
Oh, this is just a real blow to Finn's family and everybody that cares about Finn, everybody that loves him. And yeah, unfortunately, preparing yourself for the worst.
Understandably, there wasn't much room for optimism. Since then, the family has gone silent regarding Finn, aside for one last post on Facebook, which was published around the second anniversary of Finn's disappearance. To this day, Finn is still missing. While it's likely the man perished in the loch, his remains have yet to be found. Until then, what happened for certain to this aspiring outdoorsman remains unknown. Storm de Buell. This story follows a Scandinavian nature explorer with a deep desire to share the beauty of the backcountry with those online. His bravery would lead to some exciting explorations, but the man's luck would run out. In August of 2024, a 22-year-old Belgian man named Storm de Buell created his YouTube channel Storm Outdoorsy, releasing his first video on the same day. His content differed somewhat from most bushcraft videos, as he wasn't actually giving tutorials, and Storm himself never even spoke in the videos. The main purpose of the channel was to show off the beautiful Scandinavian wilderness, where most of his videos were filmed. Storm's unique and aesthetically driven approach to the outdoor content genre found success, and his channel almost immediately popped off, with him getting around 25,000 views on his first video. Encouraged, he started uploading regularly, posting new videos every couple of weeks. These videos weren't even monetized, and it seemed the only reason he was making them was simply for his love of nature. You see, Storm was a bit of an introvert, and according to his parents, in their own words, he didn't really fit well into modern society. Even before he started making videos, Storm spent a lot of time trekking through the Alps and eventually traveled all the way from Belgium to Scandinavia by bicycle. The guy had always had an affinity for isolation and engrossing himself into the wild. The passion for nature and the outdoors was palpable in his videos. He didn't even have to say a word, and you knew he loved what he was doing. But sadly, nature, while beautiful, can also be quite brutal. Storm's last video ever published to YouTube was uploaded on the 23rd of October, wherein he could be seen braving the freezing Scandinavian weather with no shelter. It was this kind of freezing venture that would eventually prove fatal to Storm. On October 29, 2024, Storm departed on a hiking trip to northern Sweden and became caught up in a sudden snowstorm. Being the intrepid and seasoned outdoorsman that he was, Storm kept going, informing his grandmother by phone that he probably would be just fine. Later, he allegedly sent a video to a friend where he filmed his backpack and shoes being completely filled with snow, though he expressed no sign of worry in this communication. Sadly, his courage here may have been misplaced, and the blizzard only got worse. It's reported that the wind became so strong that it started uprooting trees, and the temperature, which was forecasted to be around 21 degrees Fahrenheit, in reality dropped to a feels-like temperature of 1 degree below 0 Fahrenheit. It's speculated that during the blizzard, Storm had fallen and injured his face at some point. This, combined with the stark temperature drop, caught him off guard, and it seems to finally caused him to panic. At 2:36 a.m., Storm sent a distress signal to the Swedish authorities, informing them that he was injured and needed rescue. But due to the severe snowstorm, these authorities couldn't get their rescue helicopter into the air. In fact, they weren't able to initiate their rescue until several hours after receiving the signal, and by then it was too late. At 10 a.m. on October 30th, authorities found Storm de Buell's body some distance away from where the original distress signal was sent. He had a broken nose and his legs were frozen stiff, the man carrying nothing but a toothbrush and a sleeping bag in his backpack. Storm de Buell was dead. The blizzard killed him. The news of Storm's death hit the press October 31st. At first, many of the details were unknown, and people from the region began discussing the topic online on various message boards. Once Storm's identity as the victim was revealed, his family went public. A Belgian newspaper broke the story, wherein the family shared the last moments they interacted with him, giving a heartfelt eulogy. Sadly, the family wasn't able to recover Storm's belongings while they were in Sweden, and with this in mind, the father has vowed to return to the scene one day. He wishes to recover Storm's video camera, which would contain the last moments of his son's life. As of today, the belongings still haven't been found, and Storm's final video remains media lost to the elements.
Oh, hey. So if you guys are like me, you gotta have a good YouTube video going before you eat a meal. And if you're watching this video, I guess that makes me your YouTube mealtime guy. Well, I'm truly honored, and I feel like it's my duty to introduce you to today's sponsor, Cook Unity. Cook Unity offers weekly batches of gourmet meals prepared by our country's best restaurants and chefs and ships them right to your front door. Cook Unity meals arrive fresh, never frozen. All you gotta do is pop them into the microwave for a few minutes and you're good to go. One of my favorites from the batch that I got recently was the pork chop and caramelized onion sauce with roasted potatoes and southern green beans. I love me a good pork chop, and man, Cook Unity straight out of the microwave tasted restaurant quality. The pork was packed with flavor, and these potatoes, I hit them with a little bit of that caramelized onion sauce. This plate was exploding with flavor. And the meal that I'm eating with you all today is an all-time comfort food classic: creamy chicken and rice. Simple yet delicious. When it gets a little bit chilly outside, I start craving this dish. It just rejuvenates the soul, and it'll have you ready to watch hours of camping videos on YouTube. Absolutely fire. And Cook Unity has hundreds of meals that you can choose from, and they're flexible with their plans as well, providing low sodium, vegan, high protein options, and more. And as your dedicated YouTube mealtime guy, I feel obligated to share with you all the little link below. You guys can click the link in the description to try Cook Unity and get 50% off your first order of chef-made meals delivered right to your door. Just click that link in the description and use my code WavyWebSurf50 at checkout. And with the meal situation out of the way, let's get into these outdoor YouTuber stories.
Jacob Cockle. This story is about a man who took his obsession with a natural phenomena a bit too far. What started as clickbait and content farming turned into a life-threatening series of videos. In 2011, a man named Jacob Cockle uploaded his first YouTube video, a 20-second clip of a modestly sized whirlpool in his hometown of Cornwall. He titled it "Biggest Whirlpool in the World." The video got a ton of views early on, but was also relentlessly mocked as people made fun of the obvious clickbait title. I mean, it looks cool, but the biggest in the world? Jacob ended up turning off the likes and dislikes to the video to cover up the horrible ratio thanks to his clickbait. While his first foray into content creation didn't go well from a critical perspective, it still got him the attention that he needed to encourage him to want to take things further with these videos. For a while, he continued to upload videos of whirlpools, occasionally changing it up by creating skits with them. It was pretty clear that Jacob was just trying to farm views by any means necessary, using clickbait thumbnails to get people's attention. One of his more successful tricks was shooting the same whirlpool but saying it was filmed in different locations like India, Hawaii, or the United Kingdom. Its real location was always at the Carnso Pool, which is an estuary of the River Hale. It goes without saying, this man was obsessed with whirlpools, and he banked on making a name for himself using these weird water phenomena. In mid-2012, Jacob started getting crazier with his videos, actually jumping in the water and swimming with his beloved whirlpools, filming them from underwater and everything. Jacob had a bit of a daredevil streak to him. When he wasn't performing his job as a successful photographer, he spent his free time surfing and screwing around in the water. He was an avid swimmer and swam long distances. His family claimed that he'd always been reckless, but it only got worse after the death of his sister, who died of a brain tumor. After her death, Jacob began doing crazier stunts, like jumping off a railway bridge into the water below, which actually got him in trouble with local police. This inclination to do reckless stunts naturally led him to get the idea to start swimming in his whirlpools that were being featured on YouTube. Jacob continued to post stunt videos like these consistently for the next year or so, combining them with usual clickbait garbage. On the 26th of May, he uploaded a video titled Justin Bieber vs. Whirlpool, where he showed a Photoshop image of Justin Bieber holding up a sign saying that if the video was shared, he would jump into a whirlpool. Just 2 days after the Justin Bieber video was uploaded, a body was found floating in the Carnso Pool around 9 p.m. The body was identified as Jacob's, and news of his death quickly hit the media. A rumor began to spread that Jacob may have been attempting to film a video during that fateful day, which was later confirmed when a clip of him diving down into the whirlpool was uncovered. This video footage was taken by an associate of Jacob and shows him swimming in the whirlpool with a horse mask on. Other footage from the day seems to have been taken by a camera held by Jacob himself. According to reports, sometime after diving underwater to film the whirlpool, Jacob was pulled by a strong water current into a water drainage tunnel. This sent him on a helpless underwater tumble from the estuary seen on this map to the Carnso Pool, a distance of about 70 meters. Jacob drowned during the process of this. The video cameraman ran over to the pool looking for Jacob, only to find his body floating face down. It was an absolute tragedy. Despite the tragic and bizarre nature of his death, Jacob's story doesn't seem to be widely known about here on YouTube. He was an eccentric creator with a peculiar sense of humor and loved messing with and trolling his viewers with this whirlpool content. His fascination with the natural phenomena that are whirlpools did him in, and I think it's easy to call him a jackass or foolish, but the man died doing what he loved. Rest in peace to whirlpool guy Jacob Cockle. Dingo Dinkelman. This story covers a man whose desire to connect with nature and the animals within it led to his untimely demise. This is South African conservationist, social media figure, and YouTube star Graham Dingo Dinkelman.
Oh, that he slows down a little bit. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The black mamba, the most notorious snake in the world. Twitchy ears. He's looking at the camera now. Don't look at me.
Dingo Dinkelman is a massive YouTube channel with millions of views, and it all starts with Graham himself, who's had a passion for animals since a young age. Graham's father worked for the South African Wildlife Authority and instilled in his son an undying love for animals. As an adult, Graham too would get into animal conservation. In 2021, he founded Dingo's Farm and Reptile Park, with a particular emphasis on protecting venomous snakes. Then, in 2022, he started his career on YouTube, posting a video of him hunting down a black mamba that was loose in a children's campsite.
We made a duck this way. Where's hook stick? It's behind the ropes. Can't go there. It's angry, it's quick, and this is the worst size to actually handle, because this size, they're just super fast, and they whip around. Okay, there we go.
Coming out?
I'm going to come outside. See the flash of the mouth thing. This here, woo! Tricky size black mamba to handle right next to my car, because it's so quick, lightning quick, and my arm is so slow. There we go.
Quickly, Graham's conservation efforts started to gain popularity on YouTube. He was getting tens, if not hundreds of thousands of views per video. Fans were intrigued with the man's upbeat personality and how he had a seeming brazen disregard for his own safety during his stunts.
Oh, that is a crocodile turd. Imagine that coming out your bum. That's going to make your starfish buck or something rotten. Oh, look at that. Just going to touch him over here. Whoa! Come on, big boy. Come on. Woo! And interestingly enough, when you're working with different snakes, you have to know how they work. So if this was a king cobra and I went something like that, touched its tail, swings straight around at me. Whereas a mamba, generally if you touch the tail, should move away from you. But if you touch up here, it'll let me. And it's really important that you know the species of snake you're working with, and that's where years of experience come into play.
Aside from croc and snake-style content, Dinkel would often showcase a more chilled side in videos.
And we're back at Darker Game Lodge for this guy behind me. That guy. Because it's time we move him now. We're moving him today closer to our property where Dingo's Animal Kingdom is going to be. So we've come up to Darker Game Lodge this morning to move old Elliot. Hello, big boy. He's a giant giraffe. Hello, my boy. Hey, buddy, we're going to have a good day. Hey? Do you even know what's coming? Hey, my boy.
Eventually, given the nature of his content and activities in protecting animals, Graham Dingo Dinkelman would become known by some as the Steve Irwin of South Africa. And I think this is absolutely an appropriate comparison to make. Much like Steve, Dingo would sometimes get bitten and injured by the animals he aimed to protect. In January of 2024, he uploaded a video recounting a story where he had been bitten by a black mamba while handling another agitated mamba.
I was doing a show and the black mamba was the last snake in my show. I thought I had pressure on the snake. That was grumpy then. Grumpy, hot, fully charged, and with lots of people moving in the audience, the snake wanted to come and bite me, and this is what he did. Exactly what he's doing now slowly. He came rapidly.
This was just one video foreshadowing what was to come. The next ominous video a few months later on February 11th detailed how he had been bitten by a dead snake and suffered a health scare because of it.
And what happened was it had died. We had it in a beautiful outside enclosure, and I actually don't know what happened to it. It was old, but it died. So we found it this morning, and I was taking it down to get rid of it. And what happened was we've got a bull, right? Like a cow. And the bull came up to me, and so I just went like this with the snake to like, watch out, there's a snake. So he backed up, he didn't headbutt me again. And what happened, as I did that, I felt like the head of the snake just touched me on the foot.
Though the snake tooth only slightly snagged him. It caused the wounded area to swell up, but nothing all too serious. He got lucky. After a short stint in the hospital, Graham continued with videos like nothing ever happened.
This here has been my dream venomous snake to keep in all the world. It's been the Gaboon Viper. They just, honestly, I know people see them, so you get used to them, but like, have you ever seen something more magnificent to look at?
Then in August, life threw another curveball at Dinkle, and this time it wasn't snake or venom related. Graham reveals that his wife had suffered from a brain tumor 15 years ago, and that she was now suspected to have developed another one. Thankfully though, it was found that the new test results came back negative, and his wife was tumor-free despite the scare.
It's quite a big one. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor 15 years ago, maybe a bit longer, 16, 17 years ago, and we're meant to do these brain scans almost every year to check if it's grown or not. Haven't done one for 14 years or something, so she's pretty nervous about it.
Oh, well, as a doctor, these are the old scans. Okay. Look at me. Bloody hell, oh, that's an eyeball. I thought that was a tumor. Yo, that's an eyeball. That's fucking.
Wow. Thank you. Jeepers.
How's
I've been
that?
holding my breath all afternoon. That is amazing. Thank you.
While his wife Christy avoided succumbing to an old and familiar threat to her health, Graham wouldn't be so fortunate, as Dingo would once again come into contact with snake venom, and this time he would succumb to the toxin. In late September, just a month after celebrating his wife's health, Graham was bitten by a highly venomous green mamba snake. Dingo had direct access to green mambas, and on occasion showcased them on his channel. This mamba is extremely dangerous with an 80% mortality rate for those bitten, and it looks like Graham had a mishap. Sadly, it appears anti-venom couldn't save Dingo, as his body had an allergic reaction to the snake venom, putting him in anaphylactic shock almost immediately after getting bit. The man was sent into a coma. Dingo, in a comatose state, fought for his life for some time, spending the next month in the ICU and hospital. Eventually, though, the damage to his body caused by the snake bite proved to be too much to overcome, and on October 26, 2024, Graham Dingo Dinkelman was declared dead by doctors. Graham's family, including his wife and 3 kids, took to Instagram, posting a 3-part goodbye letter where they detailed some of his many achievements in animal conservation. According to the family, Graham did everything from protecting rhinos from poachers to working with critically endangered animals like pangolins and brown hyenas. He also ran specialist breeding programs for a number of endangered reptiles and amphibians at his facility. The death of Graham Dingo Dinkelman is also tragically coincidental, as he died at the age of 44, the exact same age that Steve Irwin had died, and both perished by way of venomous animal stings or bites in the case of Dingo. However, on the brighter side of things, Steve Irwin's work in conservation and television has educated and informed millions about animals and protecting their habitats even after his death. I can only imagine that Dingo's channel will accomplish that same feat. Riker Gamble and Alexei Liak. Our next story will cover a group of friends who wanted to share their travels with the world by way of filming adventurous excursions. What started as a fun side project soon became a race for more increasingly risky videos. Back in 2011, a group of 4 friends from Canada named Riker, Alexei, Parker, and Justice created a channel called Sunday Fun Days. On June 6th of that year, they uploaded their first ever video, titled How to Dance When You're High on Life. The video was just the friends goofing off and having fun, dancing to the Tunak Tunak song that you've probably all heard. Though the video was clearly meant as a joke, it ended up garnering almost 180,000 views within 2 months, setting the stage for what would become an extremely successful YouTube channel. That success took some time to materialize though. As the channel started growing, they started to get more experimental and eventually found their niche, travel videos. The group saved up around $10,000 each, and for 7 months they started traveling the world, publishing their explorations to YouTube. These videos became extremely popular, with viewers living vicariously through the group as they free-spiritedly gallivanted around the earth, hitting beautiful and scenic outdoor location after outdoor location.
This place is fucking phenomenal. Look at this view.
Isn't it just? Let's take a look at that view.
Holy.
Around this time, the channel was officially named to HighOnLife. Their stated goal was to embrace adventure and live life to the fullest, using travel to sell the dream of ultimate freedom. For viewers, it was a form of escapism. These guys mixed videos of impressive stunts in the outdoors with vlogs, and the occasional trend-chasing prank videos. One of these viral videos became an omen on its own. In 2014, the friends uploaded a video cliff jumping and sliding down a waterfall, which they claimed had already killed multiple people. They warned viewers not to attempt this feat, and assured everyone that they only felt comfortable doing the stunt because of their prior gymnastics training. But let's be real, this was risky, no matter how much experience they might have had.
First off, we're at Lynn Canyon, our hometown, and we had no idea that there's this natural water slide to waterfall cliff drop. Now, if this isn't frightening enough, you can't climb up in this area. You have to do another cliff jump down there. That's another 40 feet. It's gonna be a fun day.
This recklessness came with its own share of controversy. Sometime in 2016, the friends posted about their adventure to Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone can be a pretty dangerous place if you're not following the rules and respecting nature, and there are warning signs pretty much everywhere to reflect this caution. Warning signs that these guys completely ignored. They veered off the designated path and recorded themselves approaching the Grand Prismatic Spring, the largest hot spring in the United States. For context, the water in this spring is around 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and there have been multiple cases of people being boiled alive by it. To make matters worse, these hot springs are on volcanic ground, which can become unstable and cause a person to easily fall into the water because of tremors. And that's not even mentioning the toxic fume that the spring gives off, which can easily kill a person on its own. Luckily, the friends didn't end up getting hurt, but the internet didn't take too kindly to their stupidity here. The group got lambasted on Facebook, and a Change.org petition was created to convince their corporate sponsors to drop them. Even worse for them, the United States government issued misdemeanor charges against the 4 men for a number of other infractions committed during their visits to other U.S. national parks. One incident involved them water surfing through the Bonneville Salt Flats. 2 of the members of the group, Riker Gamble and Alexei, were given 7 days in jail for this. In the end, it was these 2 who paid the ultimate price. On July 2nd of 2018, they traveled to Shannon Falls in British Columbia alongside Alexei's longtime girlfriend, Megan Scraper. As she dangerously trekked through the water, Megan slipped at the top of the waterfall and was carried by the strong currents. Riker and Alexei jumped in and tried to save her before she fell over the edge. In the end, they joined her in the plunge, and all 3 died on the scene. Their deaths came as a shock to both the fans and the other channel founders. The HighOnLife crew released a video shortly after the deaths titled "To Our Friends and Family." The video paying tribute to their friends by reciting a quote written by Riker and Alexei.
Hello friends and family. On July 3rd, 2018, we lost 3 very dear friends of ours, Riker Gamble, Alexei Lyack, and Megan Scraper. There are truly no words that can be said to ease the pain and the devastation that we are all going through right now. They were 3 of the warmest, kindest, most driven and outgoing people that you could ever meet.
They then announced the GoFundMe campaign to honor their friends' memories, but the stated goal of the campaign was extremely vague. It was supposed to be created to pay for a memorial and to, quote, support the causes that align with Riker, Alexei, and Megan's aspirations. The uncertainty of exactly where this money was going caused a bit of a stir in the comments section, leading the crew to turn off comments and dislikes. People complained that the idea of fans paying for their memorial was somewhat narcissistic, especially considering the danger the crew consistently exposed themselves to. Not to mention they actually got paid to do some of these stunts by big sponsors. A fair point, but the GoFundMe still ended up raising almost 30,000 Canadian dollars, and despite complaints, I'm sure the family appreciated the support for the funeral costs. A separate GoFundMe was made for Riker's girlfriend, Alyssa Hassan, which raised over 18,000 Canadian dollars. As of today, the HighOnLife channel seems to have gone completely inactive, with no more stunt videos being shared to the internet. The HighOnLife story showcases how brazenly challenging nature and not respecting its might will get you killed. It's tragic to see this up-and-coming group of YouTube creators have their journeys cut short. Most of these individuals were small creators simply looking to build their channels by living out a passion for the outdoors. In each of their own ways, they took their passion one step too far and succumbed to freak accidents that ended their dreams early. I guess if there's anything to take away from these stories, it's that nature can be fascinating and immersive, but powerful and dangerous at the same time. Be careful out there. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.